Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see about social spacing. Introduction. Social spacing is nothing but is the way of animal distribute themselves in space in relation to other members of their species. It's influenced by various factors such as resource availability, competition, predation, and communication. Social spacing can affect the survival and the reproduction of individuals and populations as well as the spread of diseases and parasites. Here are some subheadings that can help you understand social spacing in animal behavior. Types of social spacing. There are different types of social spacing depends on the degree of interaction and overlap between individuals or groups. Some common types are solitary, dispersed, group living, eusocial. Solitary. It's nothing but that animals lives and forage along avoiding contact with the conspecific except for mating. Example, tigers, bears and most nocturnal animals. Dispersed. In these animals that lived in loose aggregations with little or no coordinations or cooperations. Example, deer, antelope and some birds. Group living. In this, the living in stable cohesive group with high levels of coordination and cooperations. Examples wolves, lions, and some primitives. Eusocial. In this, the animal live in highly organized societies with divisions of labors, cooperations, and altruism. Example animals and ants and bees. Mechanism of social spacing. Territoriality. Animals that defend an area of exclusive use against intrudes of the some species. So it can reduce competitions, it increase mating success and facilitate resource exploitation. Animal mark their territories and visual, acoustic or chemical signals and engage in aggressive behavior to deter rivals. Example birds, fish and some mammals. Dominance hierarchy. Animals that form a linear or non-linear ranking system that based on the outcome of agnostic interactions. Dominance hierarchy can reduce conflict, it regulate access to resources and influence reproductive success. Animals, it signals their status with body postures, vocalizations, display and effort they rank with the threats or fights. Example chicken, horses. Home range. In this animal that occupy an area of frequent use without actively defending it against conspecifics. It reflects the spatial different distribution of resources that moments patterns of individuals and the degree of overlap with natures. Animals mark their home ranges with the scent of fecus and avoid or tolerate other users. Example squirrels and raccoons. Factors that affecting the social spacing. First one, resource availability. The amount of distribution and food, water, shelter and mates that can affect the optimal size and shape of the social spacing. It generally resources are abundant and evenly distributed among tend to be more dispersed or solitary. When resources are scarce or dumped, animals tend to be aggressed or group living. So, competition. The interaction between the animals that use or seek the same resources that can affect the cost and benefits of the social spacing. If the competition is high, the animals tend to reduce their overlap or increase their cooperations. If the competition is low, the animals tend to increase their overlap or decrease their cooperations. Predation. The risk of being killed or injured by the other animals. These also can affect the trade of social spacing. If the predation is high, the animals tend to form larger or more cohesive group or seek safer habits. If the predation is low, the animals tend to form smaller or more dispersed group or explore more habitats. Communication. The exchange of informations between animals. This can affect the coordination and regulation of social spacing. If the communication is effective, the animal tend to have more stable and complex social spacing. If the communication is ineffective, animal tend to have more variable and simple social spacing. Consequences of social spacing. Survival. The probability of living or dying can be affected by the social spacing. If the social spacing is optimal, animals tend to have higher survival rate. If the social spacing is suboptimal, animals tend to have low survival rate. Reproduction. The ability to reproduce and raise our offspring can be affected by the social spacing. When social spacing is optimal, the animals tend to have higher reproduction successive. If the social spacing is suboptimal, animals tend to have lower reproductive success. Diseases. The transmission and spread of pathogens and parasites, these can also affect the social spacing. When the social spacing is optimal, animals tends to have lower disease risk. If the social spacing is suboptimal, animals tends to have higher disease risk. That's all about the social spacing in animal behavior. Thank you.